You guys, something absolutely terrible is happening in a community. And what kind of person do you think is committing this terrible atrocity to children? Is it the transgender member of a transgender community who maybe doesn't identify as the gender that they're born with, or perhaps somebody who, like in previous videos, might have a beard and also be like a surrogate father, or is it perhaps somebody who doesn't really like the ideas of patriarchal society and thinks that hey, maybe your gender shouldn't be the ultimate be all end all to your role and how you should be held in society, and maybe a hierarchical, based on I'm a woman and therefore I should be at a lower status than you idea is old and not good for humans and well being and not fair in the slightest. Is any of those kinds of groups of people that are often brought about by, right wing pundits, Christian evangelicals, and the likes of those who say that those are the people really degrading and hurting the fabric of society? No. It is usually exactly who you'd expect. It is this guy who is doing absolutely deplorable things and is finally getting caught for it. He was a 55-year-old member of a board of a private Christian church called Aurora School, from preschool to grade 12. So this community sees people from all ages in the Christian community, and he was a member of one of the board, basically a kind of modern day patriarch, if you might. One of the people who should be respected in the community, one of the people who is looked upon to for wisdom and guidance. He is not just a member of the community, he's also a real estate attorney, right? So obviously a pretty smart cookie. And looking at this guy's face, like, hey, he's had years upon him. Well, he's an evil fuck. And if you can look upon his face now in a mugshot, finally, put to some sort of justice, years too late, though. What we know, 55-year-old Michael Herbert was arrested Thursday after investigations leading to long-term child sexual abuse. And the unfortunate thing, as I said in my little intro, it's not somebody that you would expect as people on the right wing of society might have you believe. It's not transgender or gay or queer or feminist or atheist people. It's not those kinds of people that are inflicting these terrible crimes upon humanity. It is time and time again shown that these kinds of deplorable men are pedophiles and absolutely ruining the world around us. So that's why it's unfortunately to the surprise of nobody. Police said the investigation began December 2025, so almost half a year ago. Someone in his 20s reported that he was sexually abused by Herbert beginning when he was an early teenager. Think about the time frame for that. And again, this is something that unfortunately absolutely breaks my heart time and again reading it. This person who was a victim of this menace came in his 20s finally to report him. That means, and he's an early teenager. So if you take just early being as like the beginning half of your teen, so 13 to 20, early teenager, that are 13 to 19, excuse me, early teenager, that would be like maybe 13, 14, 15. There's at least 7 years where the abuse took place, happened, and it wasn't even reported. The investigation hadn't even been started. And that's why investigators are thinking that it wasn't just this one victim, but probably other victims as well. But even if it's one victim too many. This motherfucker gets to go on living his life year after year after year after doing a completely deplorable thing. What were the things he was doing? Involuntary sexual servitude of a minor under 17. Criminal sexual assault. Another one of involuntary sexual servitude. You just call it rape. He's raping children. This guy is raping children and had gotten away with it for year after year after year while being a board member of a community that sees, as it goes from preschool to grade 12, children from all around the community. And so this is, if I was a parent in this community, I would be so I would be so scared and shocked, and absolutely, I want to go to this guy and just punch him in the face. Like, look at his like pancake squashed face already. Like, I just want to fucking beat. Like, this is just the most punchable face ever. And you can that means that he's 55 now. He's been doing this at least since he was like 48, right in his late 40s, and probably earlier than that. The fact that he's gone on long enough, more than half a century, and he's now just being put in charge. And he's married, okay? He had been a successful member of his community up until then. Why does nobody talk about this? Why is it that this news, it's absolutely deplorable news, comes out, and you hear all of the people enraged about all of whatever, if it was like 2016 like trans bathrooms or what have you, all of these things. What's really deplorable and just makes me sick to my stomach is this guy, right? And people like this guy. There has been times where there's more days there's less days going on in the year than there are scandals. And scandal, I hate the word scandal is not even the right word for this. Like accidents involving, or not even accidents, sorry, just like little crime, terrible crimes committed by people in positions of authority, particularly in religious communities, over and over again. Like the incident number is higher than the amount of days in the year. Is just how frequent it is, and that's the ones that go reported and make it into news. Imagine for as many articles as there are going out for this Robert Michael Herbert guy here, there are as many stories that are not being reported. There are as many victims who are not yet in their 20s and not yet comfortable because this person clearly has a position of power in his community and is using that over him. Let's read a bit more. He used a trusted relationship to groom and abuse the victim over several years in Aurora and other jurisdictions. He's accused of providing gifts, money, and other incentives as part of manipulation and abuse. So people are no stranger to not just deplorable acts, but they know fully well in their conscience that they're doing deplorable acts. It's not like let me just go with a complete aside. And the fact that I'm even making a tangential analogy to this is gross enough for me, but just for comparison's sake, like let's say that there's an example at a university with a TA, right, who is ongoing, maybe they're really gifted and bright, so as early as age 19, right, they're TAing at a university, and maybe for whatever reason there's like a young freshman who's 17 and like they started dating, and so they legitimately liked each other. Maybe there's a bit of a power dynamic because it's like a TA and a student, but the ages are much more close. Maybe they met outside of class. They really kicked it off and liked each other, and they don't even go to bother to make it like discreet, right? Like, hey, I know we went on a date, but just so we can stay quiet about this, here's the test answers for the next midterm or what have you. No. That TA and that student would, if in all likelihood, there'd be no reason to go about hiding that. Or if it's like two students, maybe an even better example would be two students, right? Because then there's the power dynamic is kind of gone. But they happen to be like age 17 and 19. No, it's nothing like this. Again, this guy is 55, and his victims are 17, 16, 15. It says early teenagers, so more likely 13, 14, 15. Okay, so he knows what he's doing is absolutely evil and deplorable, and so he uses gifts and money to shut him up, to shut up his victims. So this is at the best thing that this could be is corruption and bribery, but on top of being corrupt and bribery, it's also raping children. It is just horrible on every single level you can imagine it. And this guy got away with it year after year. He got away with it year after year. Why did he get away with it year after year? Because he has power. Because he has ways to bribe, ways to shimmy that power down onto his victims so that they can stay quiet year after year after year. And so that's why this whole just like this whole fixture of society is just absolutely rotten to its core. This is the whole reason that people don't shut up about, hey, the patriarchy is kind of fucked. It's not just some woke liberal idea that, hey, is just the new generation of people. They just want to say, whoa, yeah, down with the man. That's all we're saying. No, it's because that even to this day in 2026, there are people using authority to rape children. And I'm not crying out about some unseen, unheard, made up, propaganda machine that others will be saying for transgender people or cross dressers or people of different gender expression, feminists, etc. Literally, the people doing this are the people in power. And the sad part is that this isn't even the you can't. I don't want to assign like grades to what is worse and what is more worse, but this is some person in power, um, in some town, in some local community. Literally, the president of the United States is in the Epstein files, right? So there's no, it just goes all the way down, right? This is why that standardized religions and patriarchal regimes and hegemony is completely deplorable for every reason, every reason under the sun you can imagine. Um, so yeah, raping a child, a felony, um, sexual assault as a supervisory role, over 13 and under 17, four counts, class 1 felony, involuntary sexual servitude, rape of a minor, 17 to 18, class 1 felony, aggravated criminal sexual abuse where the defendant was more than 5 years older. Okay, I see. Class 2 felonies, and then possession of a child of CSAM on a computer. So yeah, of course he's got that stuff on his hard drive as well. So he'll remain in custody until May 27th. So about a week from now as of recording. And then after Herbert's arrest, police identified additional adult men who reported being abused by Herbert during their youth. So in their investigation, a la Cosby's victims coming out and them saying all of the terrible things done by Cosby to them as well, people are finding all of the abuse Herbert has done to others as well. And I hate saying this, but it is understandable that there will be more and more victims because he had gone on for year after year, likely 5 to 10 years, if not longer, of carrying out these abuses and these child rapes. Literally, he's brought them to Disney World, right? He's given them money and gifts, so he knows that if he has some power, he can do rape. He can abuse children. He can abuse it. So how long did it take him to get that perverted idea in his mind? That absolutely disgusting, foul idea in his mind. He's been in power for more than 5 to 10 years. So it's all, in all likelihood, this has been something that he's been doing his entire life, and they're just going to continue finding more and more in his investigation. And in all likelihood, whatever sentence he gets put into, however the trial goes out, it will end with him still having skeletons in the closet that are not uncovered, in all likelihood, right? Because we're not going to be able to dig every hole under the sun. As much as we want to see that, as much as we want to see him brought to justice for every wrong thing done, the fact that he's already been doing this sort of like, okay, I'll give you this quid pro quo to just mask his child rape and CSAM possession over time has shown that it's not something that he's likely had power for the majority of his adult life to the extent that he has now, right? Being on a board of a Christian private school, being a real estate attorney. This is something that he's probably done, or at least thought about doing, his whole entire life. You don't just wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a pedophile now, and I'm going to use my position of authority to continuously rape children, right? That's not just something you wake up and start doing. And so this person has, for the better half of a half century, been able to freely roam America. They will continue to work with the FBI to identify more victims and alleged criminal activity. Good. I will continue to look at this story and hopefully see that he is brought into justice for all of these atrocities he has done. And if you happen to be in the community or around him in any sort of the way, there is a tip line that you can reach the Aurora Police Department. So, of course, would be happy to bring him to justice in any and every way possible. So this is, again, news that I am not happy to share in any sense. It is completely disgusting, but it just goes to show that you really you can't trust people because they're in a position of authority or because they have some label that puts them in an idea of leadership. People can, people do use continuously their positions of leadership to abuse others. Tried and true method, as disgusting as it is to say that. So you can never trust somebody because they claim to be of a particular religion, or of a particular leadership set, that they are a ethical person, they are a moral person. They wouldn't do some deplorable act. Even this person was married, and the fact that he is a Christian allegedly would ascribe to him that he, the fucked up thing about the Christian religion too is that there's no part in Christianity that says, being a pedophile is evil, as I'm understanding correctly. That's actually an invention that we came up with society as a secular society because we know that taking advantage of children and minors is fucked up in every way. That's an ethical consideration we came up with outside of the necessity of a desert myth. What Christianity says allegedly is a sin is homosexuality. In particular interpretations of Christianity, being gay is a sin. So the ironic and sad part about this is as horrible as everything that this person has done, even to his own religious practices, he is a complete hypocrite and evil because he's gay. It's for the wrong reasons, but that's why, because his victims were boys. It's disgusting even spelling that out. But the point here is that anyone can be a slimy piece of shit. You shouldn't believe anybody at face value, really, especially if they use their position or if they have a position of authority that suggests that they earned something or that they ought have something or deserve something. You should approach every old man in a position of authority saying or trying to do anything because of that position of authority with extreme caution. And I feel incredibly sorry for anyone who has had to encounter this abusive person. And I hope that we can continue to shine light on abusive people like this and say that your acts are deplorable and you're disgusting.